What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the same. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Weisz.
Hey, everybody. This is John Corcoran with Dr. Jeremy Weisz, and this episode is a little bit different. This is a live interview that we recorded at the Global Leadership Conference from Entrepreneurs Organization, where some of the best entrepreneurs from around the globe gathered in Washington, D.C. to share ideas and to learn about entrepreneurship. And of course, this episode is brought to you by Rise 25, where we help B2B businesses to give to and to connect to their Dream 100 relationships and partnerships, helping you to run a podcast so that it generates a referral pipeline and ROI.
Yeah, I mean, John, after both of us have been podcasting for over a decade, the number one thing in our life is relationships. And we're always looking at ways to give to our best relationships. And we found no better way to do that over the past decade than to profile the people and companies we admire and shout from the rooftops what they're working on. And this interview is no different. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should go to rise25.com to learn more, or email us at support@rise25.com.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the interview.
Enjoy. Jeremy Weisz here. We're live at EO's Global Leadership Conference. This is brought to you by Rise 25. I'm here with Kris. And Kris, I'd love to hear about your company and what you do.
Nice. Thank you very much for having me. So I am the founder and author of the Life on Your Terms series, online courses, and virtual workshops.
Life on Your Terms.
Yep.
Where did that idea come from?
Life on the Terms is a long story, but long story short is that I think in a lot of ways we aren't necessarily, we've abdicated the what success looks like. We've abdicated that narrative. We've given that away to the wine and advertising commercials, to maybe the scarcity mindsets of our parents and peers. So even when we're doing well financially, we end up on that hedonic treadmill where we're always moving the goalposts. And we've lost sight of what a really well-rounded, healthy relationship looks like. What does success look like on our terms? And that's the intention.
Do you have a camera set up in my house? Because that's exactly what I do. I keep moving the goalposts. So what? So when you think of that, when you define what does a healthy, successful life look like, what are some of the things that, from your perspective?
Well, I think the most important thing is that it needs to be owned by the individual and take that holistic assessment. So there's 4 areas. Usually there's a tool I have called the balance wheel, which, any of your listeners want it, they're welcome to hook up at lifeon-yourterms.com and I'll give it to them. But what it is you look at 4 quadrants. You have a professional quadrant, you have a health quadrant, you have a resources quadrant, time, talent, treasure, and then also a relationship quadrant. But in some cases, if you may be crushing it financially, but if that's come at the expense of your relationships, or maybe your health, you can't sleep except for a handful of Xanax at night, I don't care how much money you have. I work with people where we've actually built billion-dollar market cap companies. I've had a bunch of companies that have had 8x exits. Money isn't the solution. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I love my BMWs and my second homes, but that's not the only way to look at success. And the reality is that once you start looking at success on a holistic level, maybe you take a little contraction in some of those, but eventually you start to expand and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you start really living that and thriving, you become the most amazing, best spouse you could possibly be, the best parent, the best forum mate, the best boss, best business partner, best leader, and everything starts to expand. And that's what gets really energized and exciting.
It sounds like, because you also help people redefine success too, in general, right? They come in thinking success is one thing, and when they talk to you, they realize it's so much more.
Well, exactly. For them, for people across the board, I've got clients where they're doing really well financially, but their health wasn't where they wanted to be. I've got one in a medical space that's doing incredibly well now, and he's running his first marathon. I have others where he'd lost some intimacy with the wife. They had young kids, things were off, but he realized that he needed to put intention behind that, and start focusing on very simple things like our sleep, putting intention with things, being present with people. And there's dozens and dozens of tools. And the whole Life on Your Terms programs helps people go through basically 4 steps. Stabilize, visualize, strategize, and execute. Stabilize helps us to start and assess where we are. Visualize what amazing can look like. Where do we want to go? Strategize, how are we going to get there? And then execute. What's the way we're going to hold each other accountable for? But I hate to say it, I've come to believe that most entrepreneurs invest more time in their business building a strategy. I think most entrepreneurs, to be blunt, will invest more time in deciding where they want to go for vacation than they do on what a healthy, well-rounded life looks like. It is just because we haven't had the tools, and that's what this is about.
Kris, what kind of services do you offer? Because it sounds like there's a couple things from hands-on to digital. So tell people, how can they engage with you on the different services you offer?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So we've got multiple platforms. So there's a whole Life on Your Terms series. There's a Fable, there's workbooks for individuals, couples, unemployed. I wrote a best-selling book called The Aspiring Solopreneur. But then we have online courses that are self-paced. Then we have online facilitated courses. We call it a date night. It's meets 2 hours a night every 2 weeks over the course of 2 months. And then in some cases I'll do private one-on-one with people, or we'll have people out to our retreat center. And I also have coaches that are available in other places. So it's really whatever the person needs. My goal is to try and make it available to anybody. And if I can I give you my passion project with this? So one of my main purposes for doing this is I have something that I call, I teach people how to define a life-changing goal, or an LCG. And to me, my life-changing goal is to introduce 1 million people to a new way of thinking impacting countless lives. And through that, I started to transition my thinking about 2 years ago from a return on investment, an ROI, to a return on impact. And it's my passionate plea that if people are interested in this, that they engage with this, and I'm going to charge you for it. I want to make money with it. But I want to give away to 3 particular communities. I want to be able to give this away at like 90% for free. You got to have some skin in the game. But to kids aging out of the foster system, our brothers and sisters transitioning back from the military into civilian life, and people who are currently incarcerated and transitioning back into the world. How can I help those people think differently? That's my passion, is to try and drive on that. So thank you for letting me roll on that.
So where can people find out more? Where should they go online?
They can go to lifeon-your-terms.
And the book they can find there too?
Books are there. The books are also on Amazon. Life on Your Terms, a Fable. And then there's workbooks. It's all under Kris Kluver, Kluver.
Thanks, everyone. Live from GLC.
Right on. Thank you.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.